My name is John White, that is Juan Blanco in Spanish. I'm now living in a small town in Mexico. Today I'm going to explain how to solve the games called the Maya Cosmic Number Puzzles. We have a Facebook page and we would appreciate it if you would check it out and like it. We send out free puzzles and you can also see the artwork that makes up the front covers of our puzzle books. The original puzzles were inscribed on solid gold plates that formed an ancient Maya book. These complex puzzles were originally found buried deep inside a Maya pyramid in the late 1940s of the last century. They cost many good men their lives discovering them for the first time. In that Maya jungle, they had laid lost to the entire world for over 1,400 years. Someday in the future, we hope to show all of the gold plates to the world, but for now, we only have 2 of the plates that we can show you. If you click on the link showing now, we have a video showing you our first adventure of how we rediscovered the lost golden plates for the second time here in central Mexico. I hope you will enjoy watching our adventure. Some people have said the games look similar to Sudoku. Yes, they are both number puzzles. However, the big difference is that the Maya people were solving this type of puzzle more than 5,000 years ago. And they were also using the mathematical concept of a zero long before any other civilization on the planet. Today, we will be showing you how to solve puzzles with the numbers you are not familiar with in school. We will be using the ancient Maya numbers, a set of numbers that has existed for more than 5,000 years. This number set is based upon 20. In our present world, we use the Arabic number set based upon 10. The Maya system uses only 3 different forms of a number. Let us go over them first. A dot represents a 1. 2 dots represents a 2. 3 dots represents a 3. 4 dots represents a 4. Then it changes to a bar, which represents a 5. Then a dot and a bar represent a 6. 1 and a 5 makes 6. Then 2 dots plus a bar makes 7. And 3 dots and a bar make an 8. For the 0, the Maya used a symbol like this. So for a number like 10, it is represented by 2 bars. 15 is represented by 3 bars. Please check out the video that I posted explaining about the information given to us by the ancient Maya people. Just click the link showing now. Today, I want to show you how to solve to complete one of the puzzles. There are more than one type of puzzle. We will be showing you the 9x9 version today. The 9x9 version has 9 rows and it has 9 columns. These 9x9 puzzles are for experienced people who have already solved many of our simpler puzzles. This video is just another example of how to learn how to start solving the puzzles. Be warned, the 9x9 puzzles may be very hard to complete. There are many more videos posted at our channel on YouTube of the other versions of the puzzles. There are videos of a 5x5, a 7x7, and a 10x10 version for you to learn how to solve. Later this year, we will have versions of the cells of 11 by 11, 13 by 13, and 15 by 15. As you can see, they can get very complicated. We only have the puzzles available for the Android system at the present time, October 2013. We hope to have them available for the 1st of November 2013 for regular PC computers. Later, we are planning to have them available for the Apple system. We will keep you posted if you join us on Facebook. On your Android tablet or smartphone, you have the ability to select a help feature. It lets you see if a number you have chosen has already been used. You can even turn it on or off. This is just one of the great features we have available on our Android program, or as you generally refer to it, as an app. Google Play is where you must go to be able to purchase any of the puzzles. Just click on the link showing now, and we will take you there to see the 50 books we now have available. One of the books is for free to let you see if you like the challenge of solving the puzzles. Each book has 165 puzzles and their solutions. We have priced the books starting at only $1 for the 5 by 5 versions. 7 by 7 versions are $2, 9 by 9 versions are $3, and the larger versions are all $4. Enjoy them while all the time you are learning problem solving and the ability to program your brain to rapidly respond to new ideas. We have many more videos posted on YouTube of the other versions of the games. They are posted for the 5 by 5, 7 by 7, the 9 by 9, and the 10 by 10 versions of the puzzles. Our videos are in English, Spanish, Arabic, and French, so invite your friends to watch. And we hope to have them available in other languages very soon. Next month, we will start having contests as to who is the fastest at completing a Maya puzzle on YouTube. If you have been learning to solve puzzles fast, then you may be able to join us here in Mexico for one of the contests. We will keep you posted on our Facebook page. It is important to read the rules of how to solve the puzzle in your native language. We have the program in over 40 languages available on the Android system, so it should be easy for you to understand how to finish the puzzles in whatever language you speak. The rules will be shown at the end of this video in English. First, in solving this puzzle, I look at it to see which columns or rows are the easiest to solve for. In this view, we see that there are 4 empty cells in the first row. There are 3 in the second row. That would make it much easier. There are 4 in the third row. In this column, there are 3. In this column, there are 4, which would make it harder. So let's start by solving for this column. On the right side, we have the numbers 7, 3, a 1, a 5, a 6, and an 8. We are missing the 0, a 2, and a 4. When we look over this column, we see that we have a 0 here, which means that the 0 could not go here, only the 2 or the 4. When we look in this column, or this row here, we see that we have a 3, a 7, a 1, an 8, and a 6. That does not help us. When we look at this row here, we see that we have a 1, a 7, a 2, a 3, a 6, and a 4. If we have a 4 here, we cannot have a 4 here. We could only have the 0 or the 2. Since we already have the 2 here, that means only the 0 could go here. Now that we have the 0 in this position, that leaves only a 2 or 4 that can go here, 2 and a 4 that can go here. Since these rows do not help us in any numbers that will give us any confirmation, we will have to put down that a 2 or a 4 can go in these two positions. We're going to try to solve for the left side of this column. We have 8, we have a 5, we have a 6, we have a 0, a 3, and a 1. We are missing the 4, a 7, and a 2. When we look across this row, we see that we have the 7 here, which means the 7 could not go here. It has to go here or here. When we look across this row, we see that we have a 2 here. So a 2 cannot go here. It must go in this position or this position. Since we have a 2 in this position, that means only the 4 could go here. If the 4 goes here, that means a 7 or a 2 can go in either of these positions. Since we have the 2 already here, that means only the 7 can go here. If the 7 goes here, that means only the 2 can go in this position. Then we look around to solve for, again, the right side of this column. We have the 2, so that means only a 2 and a 2, which would be 22, or a 2 and a 4, which would be 24. Could be possible. So if we look around on the board to see if we have either of those to help us, we see we have a 28, that does not help us. We have a 20, that does not help us. We have a 23, that does not help us. We have a 24, that does help us. This 24 means if the 24 is here, it cannot be here. So that only leaves a 22 in that position. If the 22 is here, that means the 2 cannot be here, only a 4 can be here. That solves for that column. Next, let's try to solve for this row. It only has 3 blanks in it. On the right side, we have a 3, we have an 8, we have a 7, we have the 0, we have the 6, and we have the 2. We're missing a 1, a 5, and a 4. When we check this column, we see that we have a 1 here, and we see that we have a 4 here. So if the 1 and the 4 cannot be in this position, that leaves only a place for a 5. Then in this column here, we have the 5, we have a 6, an 8, a 0, a 7, and a 3. That does not help us. In this column here, we have a 1, which means a 1 can not go in this position here, only the 4 can go here. That means the 1 can go only here. Then if we're solving for the left side of this row, we have a 5, we have a 3, we have a 0, we have a 1, we have a 6, and we have a 7. We're missing a 4, we're missing a 2, and an 8. When we check this column, we see that we have a 5, an 8. If we have an 8 here, that means an 8 could not go in this position here. It could only go in this position or this position. Since there is another 8 here, that means the 8 can only go in this position. That leaves us with a 4 and a 2. There is a 2 in this position, so a 2 cannot go here, only the 4 could, and that means the 2 must go in this position. That solves for that row. Then looking around, we see that this row now only has 2 positions that are vacant. So we start to solve it for it. We have a 0, we have a 4, we have a 6, we have a 3, we have a 2, we have a 7, and a 1. We're missing both the 8 and a 5. When we check this column, we see that we have an 8 here, so the 8 cannot go here, only a 5 could, which means the 8 must go here. Now, solving for the left side, we have a 4, we have a 2, we have a 0, we have an 8, a 1, a 3, a 7. So we are missing both the 6 and a 5. When we check this column, we see that we have a 3, a 7, an 8, a 4, and a 2. That does not help us. When we check this column, we see that we have a 1, a 7, a 2, a 5. So if a 5 is here, that means a 5 cannot go in this position here. Only the 6 can, and a 5 must go here. That solves for that row. Then we look around and we see that we only have 2 vacant cells in this column, so let's solve for it next. On the right side, we have a 3, we have a 2, we have a 6, a 1, a 5, an 8, and a 4. We are missing the 0 and the 7. We see that we have a 0 in this position, so a 0 could not go here. That means only the 7 can go here. The 0 must go here. Then solving for the left side, we have a 1, we have a 7, we have a 2, we have a 5, an 8, a 6, and a 3. We're missing, again, a 0, and we're missing a 4. When we check, we see that we have a 4 here. That means the 4 cannot go here, only the 0. That means the 4 must go up here. That helps us in being able to solve for this row here. That leaves only 2 blanks. So let's start by solving for the right side. We have a 4, we have a 6, we have an 8, we have a 1, we have a 7, a 3, and we have the 0. We're missing both the 2 and a 5. When we check, we see that we have a 2 in this position here, so a 2 cannot go here, only the 5 can. That means the 2 must go here. Then solving for the left side, we see that we have a 7, we have an 8, we have a 5, we have a 3, we have a 2, we have a 4. So, and we have the 0. So we are missing both a 1 and a 6. When we look in this column here, we see that we have a 1 here. That means the 1 cannot go here, only the 6 could. That means the 1 must go here. That solves for this row. Then, when we solve for this column, we only have 1 spot left. That makes it very simple to solve for. On the right side, we have an 8, a 4, a 0, a 2, a 5, a 3, a 1, and a 6. We're missing the 7. Then on the left side, we have a 2, we have an 8, we have a 5, a 0, a 1, a 3, a 7, and a 4. We're missing the 6. Then, solving for this column, which only has one blank, we have on the right side, we have a 5, a 1, a 6, an 8, 2, a 0, a 7, and a 3. We are missing only the 4. On the left side, we have a 7, we have a 4, a 1, an 8, a 6, a 2, a 3, and the 0. We are missing only the 5. Then, looking around, we see that we have, in this column, we have 3 vacant spots. In this row, we see that we only have 2 vacant spots, so let's solve for it next. We only have 2 spots in this row, but let's go ahead and solve this row first. On the right side, we have a 2. We have an 8, we have a 5, we have a 1, we have a 6, a 0, and a 7. We are missing both the 3 and the 4. When we look down here in this column, we see that we have the 4 here. So a 4 cannot go here, only a 3 could, and that means the 4 must go here. Solving for the left side, we see that we have a 2, we have a 7, a 3, an 8, a 1, a 5, and a 4. We're missing the 0 and we are missing the 6. When we look at this column, we see that we have a 0 here. That means the 0 could not go in this position, only the 6 could. That means the 0 must go here. That solves for that row. Next, we had a row down here that only had 2 spots that were vacant. So let's solve for the right side. We see that we have a 6, we have a 2, we have a 1, we have a 3, we have a 4, we have a 7, and we have a 5. So that means we are missing the 0 and the 8. And when we look around on this column, we see that we already have the 8 here. So that means an 8 cannot go in this position, only a 0, and the 8 must go here. On the left side, we see that we have a 3, we have a 4, a 1, a 2, a 5, a 6, and an 8. We are missing the 7 and we're missing the 0. So that when we check this column, we have a 6, a 3, a 2, a 4, and an 8. That does not help us. When we check this column, we see that we have a 5, a 2, an 8, a 4, a 6, and a 1. That does not help us. So that means that we could have a 7 or a 0 in this position. We can have a 7 or a 0 in this position. When we look around on the board for a 7, 0 or a 0, 0, we see that we already have the 0, 0 here. So that means we cannot have it here. Only a 7 can be in this position. If a 7 is here, that means a 0 must be here. That solves for that row. In this row, or this column, we see that we only have 2 spots left. So let's solve for the right side. We see that we have a 6, we have a 5, a 1, a 3, 4, an 8, and a 2. That means that we are missing the 0 and we are missing the 7. When we look around, we see we have a 4, we have a 6, a 3, a 1, and an 8. That does not help us. We have a 1, a 3, a 5, an 8, a 2, and a 6. That does not help us. So again, we'll put a 0 and a 7 in this position, and a 0 and a 7 in this position. Then, if we're solving for the left side, we have a 5, we have a 2, we have an 8, we have a 4, we have a 6, we have the 0 and a 1. We are missing again a 7 and a 3. If we look in the left side of this row, we see that we have a 6. We do have a 7 here. So if we have a 7 here, that means the 7 could not go in this position. Only the 3 can. That means the 7 must go down here. If we look around on the board for any other confirmation for numbers for the right side, we see that we have a 3 here, so it's either going to be 3, 0 or 3, 7. Down here, we have a 7, so it would be either a 7, 0 or a 7, 7. Looking around for a 7, 7 or 7, 0, we see that we have a 7, 4, we have a 7, 3, we have a 7, 8, we have a 7, 5, we see that we have a 7, 1, and we have a 7, 2. That does not help us. In the 3, 0 or 3, 7, we look around, we see that we have a 3, 6, we have a 3, 8, we have a 3, 7. If we have a 3, 7 here, that means that we cannot have a 3, 7 in this position here, only 3, 0. If we have the 0 here, that means the 7 must be down here. That solves for that column. On this row, that leaves 2 blanks. Let's try to solve for it next. On the right side, we have a 5, we have a 3, we have a 5, we have a 0, we have an 8, we have a 2, and a 6. So we are missing both a 4 and a 7. When we look here, we see that we have the 7 here, so we could not have the 7 here. Only the 4 could be here. That means the 7 must be here. Then on the left side, we have a 6, we have a 7, we have a 4, we have a 3, we have an 8, a 0, and a 2. We're missing both the 5 and a 1. When we look at this column here, we see that we have the 1 here, so the 1 could not go here, only the 5 could go in that position. That means only the 1 can go here. That solves for that row. Then we look around and we see that this column only has 2 spots available. So we'll solve for it next. On the right side, we see that we have a 6, a 5, a 4, a 7, an 8, a 0, and a 3. We're missing both the 2 and a 1. When we look around, we see that we have the 1 here. So that means only the 2 could go here, and the 1 must go up here. Then solving for the left side, we have a 6, we have a 3, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 4, we have a 7, and we have the 8. We are missing a 5, and we are missing a 0. When we look across this row here, we see that we already have the 5 here. That means the 5 could not go in this position, only the 0, which means the 5 must go down here. Then we look around to see this, what we can solve for. This column has 1, 2, 3. But this row only has 2 spots, so we'll solve for it next. On the right side, we have an 8, a 1, a 2, a 7, a 3, a 6, and a 4. That means we're missing the 0 and a 5. When we look up this column, we see that we already have the 0 here. That means the 0 could not go in this position, only the 5 could go here. That means the 0 must go here. When we look on the left side, we see that we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 5, we have a 7, we have the 0, we have a 4, and a 3. So we are missing a 6 and an 8. When we look around on the board, we see that we have a 6 in this position of this column. So the 6 could not go here, only the 8 could go here. That means the 6 must go here. That solves for that row. Then we see in this column we only have 2 spots. We only have 2 spots in this column, and we only have 2 spots in this column. So we'll solve for this column first. We see that on the right side we have a 0, we have an 8, we have a 7, we have a 1, we have a 3, we have a 6, and we have a 5. We are missing both the 2 and a 4. When we look around on this column, or this row, we see that we have a 7, a 1, a 6, a 5, an 8, and a 3. That does not help us. When we look on this row here, we have a 5, we have an 8, we have a 4. When we look around on this row, we see that we have a 5, we have a 8, we have the 4. So the 4 does help us. That means that the 4 is here. A 4 cannot be in this position here, only the 2 can. 4 must be up here. Then on the left side, we have a 1, we have a 7, a 5, a 3, a 2, a 0, and a 6. So we are missing the 8 and we are missing the 4. When we look across this row, we see that we have the 8 here. That means the 8 could not go in this position, only the 4 can. If the 4 is here, that means only an 8 can go here. Next, we're going to solve for this column. On the right side, we have the 7, we have the 3, we have the a 5. We have the 8, we have a 1, a 4, and a 0. We are missing a 2 and a 6. If we look across, we have the 7, we have 4, we have the 6 here. So if a 6 is here, that means the 6 cannot go here, only a 2 can, and the 6 must go here. Then solving for the left side, we see that we have a 0, we have a 6, we have a 4, we have a 5, we have a 1, a 2, and we have an 8. We are missing a 7, and we are missing a 3. If we look across this row, we see that we have a 7 here. That means the 7 cannot go here, only the 3 could, and the 7 must go here. That makes it fairly simple to solve for the rest of it. We can solve by going across this row. On the right side, we have a 7, we have a 2, we have a 4, a 1, a 6, a 5, an 8, and a 3. We're missing only the 0. And on the left side, we have an 8, we have a 3, a 4, a 0, a 5, a 7, a 2, and a 1. We're missing only the 6. Then we only have one blank left, and solving it as a column, we have a 0, we have an 8, a 4, a 3, a 6, a 2, a 5, and a 1. We're missing only the 7. Solving for the left side, we have a 6, we have a 3, we have the 0, we have a 7, we have the 8, a 4, a 5, and a 2. We're missing only the 1. That completes the solving of this puzzle. Its difficulty level is shown down here by the Maya Spirit Zapaknu. It's a difficulty level 2. We have puzzles in each book that are difficulty level 1, and we have also puzzles that are difficulty level 3 in each book. In this area here, you can record your time and you can record the date, so that when you solve more puzzles, you can be able to see your improvement. Down here, we have the serial number that shows each puzzle is separate, and we thank you for enjoying our video.